This is Dave, and Hannah and I received just a gigantic compliment yesterday. We got pirated. So here it was, I came out of Yom Kippur, and I'd actually been running a promotion on a website called Free Booksy, a list that sends out emails about free books, and I'd put The Size of Your Dreams in it, and it happened to run on Yom Kippur. That was the first day that was available. And all these people had downloaded copies of the book, The Size of Your Dreams. And I was curious to see how it was going, so I went on to Amazon to look at where we were ranking and trying to check our stats. And I saw something interesting. I saw that there were three versions of the book. There's the Kindle book, the paperback book, and the audiobook. And that was really interesting because we hadn't actually made an audiobook up until that point. We'd tried it, we'd experimented, we'd actually gotten someone that we worked with, but it didn't fully go through. We'd never completed getting an audiobook, and I really wanted an audiobook. So part of me was excited to see this listing with an audiobook, but then part of me was like, wait a second, I haven't actually made an audiobook. Why is there an audiobook on my listing? Could this be some mistake? So I click on the audiobook, and I see a cover, an absolutely heinous looking cover. If you're going to steal my book, please steal my graphics too, because the graphics you came up with were horrible. That said, The Size of Your Dreams by Dave and Hannah Mason. That was us. And it said, click here to listen to a sample. And I clicked, and there was a guy reading the book, starting off my words. I wrote that beginning, and this guy is reading my words on Amazon for my book. And I remember thinking, this is so cool. I'm like frustrated and puzzled and a little upset, but like, this is really cool. I'm being pirated here. Somebody chose my book to rip it off. And most people might not find that exciting, but I was really thinking about it. It's like, my book is so obscure. It's so small. Like, I've wanted to get it out there, and we haven't really gotten it out there to be that big yet. I don't think we have that many people who are, as big believers in the book as we are right now. And people who've read it, who've seen the changes in their lives, absolutely. But it's not like it is known. It's not spreading like wildfire like we hope it will. That's why I ran the free promotion, because not enough people have seen it yet. I want more people to see it because I want it to spread like wildfire. But it's not. It's not like any big publications have picked up and said, wow, you've got to check this book. Of course, we haven't told them about it for the most part. Got to work on that too. But the pirates have discovered it. The pirates found this hidden treasure in my little tiny obscure book with its 25 reviews, which is not bad, but it's not a ton. But the pirates discovered it, and they discovered that they had hidden treasure, and they decide, we need to rip off this book because this book is going to be huge. At least I assume that's what they were thinking, because why else would they choose to rip off my book? And it was a kind of a funny thing. So we see this, and it says, Dave Mason and Hannah Mason as the authors, and then it says the name of the guy who narrated the audiobook, and then it says the people who produced the audiobook. And the people who produced it, it was like a very kind of vague name. It felt like very much of a spammy name, felt like very piratey type name. But there's a question, what about this narrator guy? Is he the pirates narrator, or is he somebody who's in cahoots with them? I mean, he made a book for them that he didn't have the rights to. He's probably in cahoots. And literally I had somebody who's telling me, you got to get this guy, you got to sue this guy, you got to go after this guy, this narrator guy who made an audiobook. And I was like, I'm not so sure. And part of the reason I wasn't so sure is because I know a little bit how the audiobooks work. There's something called ACX. ACX is a platform owned by Audible, which is the biggest audiobook platform, which is also in turn owned by Amazon. And ACX is a platform where you can make books. So say I have a book and I want to make an audiobook out of it, but I don't have any money. Well, I can go to ACX and I can say, this is my book. Is there any voice talent out there that would like to make the audiobook for me? And someone could say, yeah, I'd be happy to make that audiobook. And I say, great, I'll tell you what, we'll make it together and you'll get 50% of the proceeds and I'll get 50% of the proceeds. And then you can make this agreement and you work together that way. And so oftentimes the people who are the narrators don't actually get paid in advance. And so it struck me as actually this guy might not be in with the pirates. This guy might be a guy who the pirates might have put on a listing on ACX saying who would like to partner with this book that we own. And this guy said, yeah, I'll be happy to. And he put in all the work and put in all the effort. And he got nothing back. And in fact, as I looked at him up online, he very much had a very clear profile online. I could find his picture, I could find details about his life, I could find him on Facebook. That's usually not the pattern you find with pirates. And in fact, I contacted him, and he was like so upset to hear that he'd become part of something. He was absolutely had no idea they didn't have the rights to the book. And he was really upset to hear that he got dragged in. He was so apologetic, and he was so sweet. And I realized this guy had put in weeks of work on this project, and now he's going to get nothing out of it. Because I spoke to ACX, they're investigating it. This will be pulled off in a couple days, most likely. But I spoke to this guy, and I'm like, you know what? I'm really impressed by your attitude. In fact, he went out of his way to send me a copy of the audiobook so I could listen to it for myself, and to point out that the techniques we teach in the book, that we teach people how to be more effective in their lives. He said, in doing the audiobook, he's like, wow, these are great techniques. And he started implementing them to be building his own business. So he was actually really grateful for the things that he learned in the book and really expressing how much he enjoyed reading it and enjoyed working on it. And I'm looking at him, this is a guy who blew 2 weeks of his life working on a project he gets nothing from. And yet he's not expressing anger. He's not even really expressing so much frustration. What he's really expressing is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was part of this scam. I'm going to make sure I contact ACX and let them know, by the way, that this is totally illegitimate and, please take this down. So he was very much keen on our side. And I said, I really appreciate how strong your attitude here is. And he said, well, it might be because today is Yom Kippur. And up till that point, I had no idea that this guy was Jewish. I just come out of Yom Kippur, and I think that's one of the reasons why when I saw this, I didn't go into to some hysteria. I wasn't totally angry. I was a little curious, and I got to the bottom of it. I called ACX, and I tried to figure out how I could fix this now, get it taken care of right away. But I didn't go into some, anger spout. And I think part of it was I spent the entire day in an introspective place really thinking about, okay, who do I want to be? What do I want my emotional states to be like? And this guy basically said the same thing back to me. It's like, well, you wrote to me on Yom Kippur. Because in Jerusalem, Yom Kippur was over. In America, where he is, it was still in the middle of it. And I'm an Orthodox guy. I don't respond to emails on Yom Kippur, but he's not. So he responded back to me. And as soon as he did, it's like, had I known you were Jewish, I would have waited another day to get in contact with you. I think at this time we were talking, it was already, Yom Kippur was already over. And over for him as well. But when I first contacted him, it wasn't. And it was really cool for him to express, like, yeah, I spent that day thinking about who I want to be and the state that I want to have. And you know what? I got some things out of this. I learned from this process, and I learned these techniques. And yeah, I'm frustrated, but like, I'm not going to go and take that out on you. Like, you're the victim here. You wrote something, and it was taken from you, it was pirated. Like, so why would I then get frustrated with you? And it was really great to see. It was really great. First of all, I felt really good that coming out of Yom Kippur myself, that I wasn't coming with this whole attitude of anger for the fact that I was pirated. To me, it's kind of an adventure. Like, my little obscure book gets pirated, and it's the pirating copy is going to be off. I discovered it within 24 hours, I was told, of that pirated copy going up. It was discovered the pirates are going to make no money, at least through Amazon and Audible. The book will be taken down. I need to go and make a new audiobook to make sure that the correct one is being found so that theirs just gets totally squashed and destroyed. But like, my attitude was kind of like, hey, this is kind of an adventure. And his was like, wow, that's really tough. I'm really sorry that you went through that. By the way, I got a lot out of doing this project, and I really appreciate your book. And it was cool to see how both of us had positive reactions, and we both attributed them to the same thing. We attributed them to the fact that we both spent the day thinking about, how do we want to exist in the world? We spent the day in a place of saying, how can I be a better person and carry better energy into this coming year? And so I want to leave you with that thought of, there's what is the quote? There's no positive or negative events, but thinking makes it so that sometimes that things happen to us and they can actually be amazing seeds for us. They can sprout into something beautiful. Or we can look at them and just throw them out the window and say, I don't even want to look at this. I don't even want to look what this can become. I can't believe I did this thing. So for me, I'm hoping this experience with getting pirated my first time is going to be a positive one. It's going to give up all of these beautiful seeds. And I hope this guy who did the narration, that this whole experience is going to teach him to be I'm a little more careful about the projects he takes on, but he also learned things, and I actually gave him a bit of feedback on the files he sent, on the way he did the book. And I'm hoping he can grow in his voiceover career, and because he chose to look at it from a place of, wow, I need to take ownership over this, over my small role in this, and look at everything I gained out of it, but also, be grateful for the opportunity, and not express anger, the frustration to the guy who is not the one who delivered it upon me. Because of that attitude, I want to bless him with that he should be really successful with everything that he does, and that he should really build an incredible voiceover business himself. And I want to bless all of you to know that your reactions are in your hands. And even something that feels like a really horrible thing, like I could look at being pirated as this incredible violation. Somebody took my materials, mine and Hannah's, and took them and tried to make their own profit from them and made something out of it. I could have this whole negative story, but I didn't, and I feel really good about that experience. I want to bless you that you should know that you've got that ability to control all of these things yourself. And if you want to see the most ugly audiobook cover ever made and see this pirated edition, listen to the first couple minutes, go to Amazon and search The Size of Your Dreams. The pirated edition will probably only be up for another day or two. It takes that long for them to investigate and get it down. So go check it out and see exactly what you should not do on an audiobook cover, and just have a little bit of fun with this whole experience. Like, how often do you know somebody who's been pirated and get to see it live and in action? So I'm enjoying it. Please go and enjoy it. Check it out while you can. And if you haven't yet, download a free copy of The Size of Your Dreams. I hope it impacts you like it impacts this voiceover guy who's already using the skills to work on his own business and his own life.